Hi everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Qtrix that is brought to you by Ilma University in collaboration with Rotary District International 3271, powered by Noman Group of Companies. Hi, this is Fawad.
And this is Sajda. Well, Qtrix aims to bring world's top-notch academic celebrities and scientists in front to speak out hot-button issues related to quality trends and new directions in post-COVID-19 digitech world. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of today's show is Learning Outcomes Blaze, innovative solution to measure graduate attributes and learning outcomes. And to discuss the importance of this internationalization, we have with us Dr. Biju. Dr. Biju Srivali. Dr. Biju, if I'm not pronouncing it wrong, who is faculty member in Department of Computer Sciences in
Dr. Biju Theruvil, Ph.D., is a highly experienced higher education academic information technology (IT) professional with over 25+ years of experience in the field of computer science, computer engineering, management information systems, and information technology. He is specialized in higher education management, consultancy, research, teaching, training, assessments, advising, learning and development, academic programs and curriculum development, quality assurance and accreditation, course design and delivery, business proposals, budget preparation and software services. As of the current date, he has been involved in the teaching and learning processes for an approximate number of 1,200+ candidates, students and working professionals, from diversified nationalities, specifically in the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. Apart from his professional role, he has also been associated and gained experience as a senior management board member of a secondary educational setting. In addition, he is equipped with excellent ongoing professional and business flair in higher, professional and technical education, especially under the American and British curriculum. With respect to his exposure to administration and management in higher education, he has served and led various critical committees at the university, college and department levels. Having successfully managed the department as a chairperson for 6 consecutive years, he was also holding the responsibility as director of an IT-based training/testing center in the same organization. His research area and interest is in the area of artificial intelligence, AI, applied over various domains, specifically education management, education assessment, knowledge management systems and expert systems. Accomplishments include having published more than 32 research papers published in various reputed Scopus indexed and Web of Science journals, international and national conferences, apart from participating in various national and international seminars and workshops. As a co-principal investigator, he has also received and executed a research project titled Toward a Future Smart Dhofar Power Grid, of $307,000 under the grant of Research Council of Oman. In addition, he has recently developed a unique methodology to measure the learning outcomes in an outcome-based education (OBE) environment, specifically higher educational institutions (HAES). To realize the invented methodology, he registered a patent titled Computational Methodology Towards Attainment of Graduate Attributes and Program Learning Outcomes in an Outcome-Based Educational System, and this patent is that lead to the development of the software to Learning Outcomes Blaze. The software would effectively and efficiently measure the learning outcomes and graduate attributes in an outcome-based educational environment to be specifically applied in higher education institutions. In addition to being a managing director of EDataInferno Research and Innovations Private Limited, he is currently associated as a faculty member with the Department of Computer Science at Dhofar University, Salalah, Sultanate of Oman. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Biju Theruvil.
Hello, Dr. Biju.
Hello. Thank you very much. Yeah, very fine.
It's a pleasure having you on board and thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Biju, first of all, I really congratulate you for your excellent invention and innovation in terms of learning outcome Blaze. a software that you have developed to measure graduate attributes and learning outcomes. So congratulations on your invention.
Thank you. Highly appreciate. Thank you very much.
Learning outcome based education is the most important tool these days in order to improve the quality of education and especially higher education. So, and yes, graduates attributes measurement in terms of learning outcomes of the programs is really important. But in fact, generally there are no softwares available with the education institutions, and these attributes are being measured through different manual strategies. So yes, this is a very important invention and innovation, and higher education institutions, especially of the developing countries, need these softwares, these type of softwares, in order to get the constructive outcome from the attributes of the graduates, so that they can apply those outcomes and those research results in improving the quality of education. So how did you reach to the idea of inventing and innovating this type of software?
Right. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me for this great show. I highly appreciate Mr. Butt, yourself, and Ms. Sajida, and the entire team at Ilma University.
Thank you.
Well, this is a very hot topic, basically graduate attributes and learning outcomes. Mr. Butt, let me tell you very clearly that I have been in the profession, in the academics for last 20 years. And we know that when we talk about academics, I mean higher educational institutions. So during my past 20 years, I have worked with various systems, that is American as well as British system. And I found that every institution in the globe is trying their best to achieve the quality of education. The first thing that starts is with the vision and mission of an institution. Every institution works towards achieving the vision and mission. Now, what I understand is, throughout my experience of 20 years, that all the educational institutions, in order to achieve the vision and mission, they need to improve upon the quality of education. And I understand that there is no such methodology to measure the quality of education other than having the feedbacks and views of different stakeholders. For example, after teaching a course, a faculty member will seek a feedback of the delivered course from his or her students. After completing an academic program, the students or the institution will seek a feedback from the employer. So these are the norms that is usually followed. But what we are looking forward is about a measurable methodology that does not exist in my view or in our view. So that led me to think over, why not we develop some system that could measure the graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, course learning outcomes, competencies, and qualification frameworks in measurable terms. I mean, I am not against having the surveys or feedback of stakeholders, but along with the surveys and feedback, there should be a measurable technology. So that is what led me to think over this system.
Dr. Biju, when we measure these attributes that you mentioned now, we normally measure or we normally assess our students by the evaluations. But what is the difference that you are doing other than this normal and manual things? Because I read somewhere you call it as a computational methodology.
Yeah.
If I'm right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
could you
exactly.
explain over it how it is different from the normal measurement method?
Perfect. Okay. So let me start it from the beginning. As I said earlier, that every institution has got its vision, mission, values, objectives.
True.
And in order to fulfill the vision and mission, the institutions have created something called graduate attributes. Graduate attributes are statements or knowledge, skills, and parameters that every student who graduates should have it, or every student who graduates from that institution must hold those attributes. That is one part. Second part is all the academic programs in an institution is supposed to have something called program learning outcomes. Every academic program must have something called program learning outcomes. And these program learning outcomes are formed in consultation with the stakeholders and in line or mapped with the graduate attributes. So that is second part. Now, every academic program have got various courses, academic courses. For example, an academic program, say Bachelor of Electrical Engineering, will have around 30 to 40 academic courses. And every course will have something called course learning outcomes. Course learning outcomes are formed and designed by respective instructors or professors.
True.
The important key factor is when a professor designs or forms the course learning outcomes, it must be in line with the program learning outcomes and in line with the graduate attributes. Overall, what the professor is going to deliver in a course should be aligned or mapped with the program learning outcomes and graduate attributes. If that does not happen, that means that something is being taught in the course which is not aligned with the graduate attributes or program learning outcomes. So this is a must.
Amazing.
The next point is every professor, when he or she conducts the assessment or evaluation within a course, let's say assignment or exams or projects or presentations, he or she must ensure that the assessments are purely reflecting the course learning outcomes, because there is a design of the course that contains course learning outcomes, which in turn is mapped to program learning outcomes and graduate attributes. So all the assessments and every component of the assessment must reflect the course learning outcomes. Now, this is what is missing in the entire globe. Every institution, every course has got the assessments. Assessments are conducted, but there is nothing that links to the program learning outcomes and graduate attributes other than having the feedbacks. For example, after completion of a course, after completion of the assessments, it is just a feedback that is sought by the students. Okay, tell us, have you achieved this program learning outcomes or not? Have you achieved the graduate attributes or not? If yes or no, that is the only answer. And again, these type of views and surveys could be highly influenced, because a faculty member is teaching a course, a student, whether irrespective of whether the outcomes have been achieved or not, they will always say yes, 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 and yes. And that does not give us any picture of whether really the program learning outcomes and the graduate attributes have been achieved. First of all, delivered, and second part, achieved, yes or no. It will not give a true picture. Second point is, even if it is done, second point is how much. How much program learning outcomes has been delivered or taught by the professor? How much graduate attributes in a course has been taught or delivered by a professor? Second part is how much, again measurable terms, how much has been achieved by the students. Now, this leads to the calculation of grades in the assessments. So, Ms. Sajida, as you rightly asked, here is the connection between the grades and the outcomes as well as attributes.
Okay.
And our system does handle it very smartly.
I'm fair with it.
Okay. Dr. Biju, I see a little variation in the types of graduates while teaching in the class. For example, there are two types of students who are studying in my class. For example, I am a teacher. The one part is a type of student who is only a student, who has no job experience, who is not working anywhere, and he or she is only studying in the class. And after completion of his or her courses, he or she is graduated from the university. The other type of student in my class is a student who is having a rich experience of job or business in the market. So two students studying in my class on the same pace, on the same subject, are having these different attributes because of the experience associated with them. So how does your software differentiate in the measurement of graduate attributes between these two types of graduates?
Right. Well said. So, Mr. Bhatt, your question is very clear. You are telling that in a group of students, there are students with different caliber. Some are weak, some are good, some are excellent, and so on.
Yes.
Some might be experienced, some may not be experienced. Some may have very strong knowledge and skills, some may not, and so on. Very good. Now, the point here is, when a professor delivers a course, he has a set of course learning outcomes, and the professor prepares the assessments in line with the course learning outcomes. What happens here is, when the assessments are done, those students who are weak will perform low. Those students who are good or excellent or who are very strong or who are experienced, they will do the assessments better. Overall, at the end of the assessment, the professor will know, okay, these are the best students and these are the weaker students, because always the best students who do better in the assessments will have higher grades in comparison to other students.
Yes.
Our system will keep track of all the students, how much they have performed, what are their strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
So again, the graduate attributes are fixed for the institution. The program learning outcomes are fixed for the institution. The course learning outcomes are fixed for a course designed by the professor. There is no change. But the change is in difference of the students. So students will be weak or strong. That is irrespective of these criteria. So what the system does is, it will measure at the end of the assessment which student has received or achieved how much graduate attributes. For example, there are 5 graduate attributes. For example, there are 10 program learning outcomes. For example, there are 10 course learning outcomes. The system will show, and suppose if in a class there are 100 students. After the assessment, the system will show each of these students how much each graduate attribute has been achieved. For each student, how much each program learning has been achieved. Achieved means understood or received. Each student, how much course learning outcomes has been achieved or received. Overall, at the end of the course or an academic program, the system will show that which student has got how much strength and weakness and in what areas. This will help us. This will help everyone in the globe to identify the right student for the right job. It is not necessary, Mr. Bhatt, that the student who receives 90% overall grades is the best student for any job. No, that is a misconception. Maybe a student who received 70% overall CGPA might be a best student might be a best fit for a particular job. This is what our system does it. It will highlight the strengths and weaknesses of every student in every area.
Okay, but another question arises with this question, and that question is that the attributes of graduate changes with the passage of time. For example,
Yeah,
a student who has recently been graduated
yeah,
would be having some attributes.
yes,
A student who was graduated 3 years ago and
Yeah.
then he started working in the market and has now experience of 3 years
yeah,
will be having different attributes or maybe improved attributes.
yeah, yeah,
For example, a graduate who passed out 10 years ago and
Yeah.
now is having 10 years of experience. So
Yeah,
his
yeah.
attributes would be far more better than attributes of the earlier two graduates.
of course,
One-
of course.
So how, for example, now your software is measuring or calculating the attributes of recently graduated students, or the software is having input from all the graduates, all the alumni from
No,
day
no.
one to date.
Okay,
Dr. Biju,
I got your question. I got your question.
Let me add the thing in it. As you mentioned, like the functioning of your product, the data that product is acquiring. So
Yeah.
basically, what he is about to ask is, what is the data that acquired or that software will work upon? Would data
Yeah,
be
okay.
of that graduating student or the current enrolled students?
Okay, okay, okay. Very well. Very good. Excellent. Okay, so there are two parts. What does the software do? Is it only for the current students or is it for the students who have already graduated long back or senior students? Okay. So the software, okay, let me put up like this. When a student completes the graduation, that student will get a certificate that this student has completed Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. A certificate will be received by the student. He or she has completed. Okay. Along with that, there is another certificate that will show the strengths and weaknesses of the student during these 4 years. This second certificate is the one that is produced by our system. So our system works only for those students who study, who are currently in the university from day one till the day they graduate.
Okay.
The strengths and weaknesses gained during these 4 years or 3 years, whatever is the duration of the academic program. So that is one part. So this is for the current students who are in the university from day one till the last day they graduate. All the strengths and weaknesses will be archived and shown. So this is what our system does.
Okay.
Second question is, how does it do? It basically works on the grades. Because as I said, vision, mission of the university or any institution. Second is the graduate attributes. Third is the program learning outcomes. Fourth is the course learning outcomes. And from all this, based on the course learning outcomes, the assessments are made. Assessments means projects, assignments, homeworks, exams, and stuff like this. And every assessments, every component is mapped with the course learning outcomes. So whatever grades the students receive in the assessments will be automatically reflecting a course learning outcome, will be reflecting a program learning outcome, will be reflecting a graduate attribute. So this is how the system will work based on the grades.
Okay, Dr. Biju, another.
Am I clear?
Yes, you are clear. Another connecting question is, let's see the report that we are receiving from that software that student is weaker, the strengths and weaknesses are apart. What if we have 60% number of students who are weaker? Then what are the improvement chances? Would this software be, suggesting or guiding or mentioning the techniques that are, these are the improvement areas?
Very good. Very good. Very good. A great question. Actually, in our technical terms, we call it as analytics.
Okay.
Analytics means when we have a set of data, we have set of data that could be millions or billions of data. From this data, you derive some statistics.
Okay.
You analyze the statistics. You find out what's going to happen or what has happened. So this term is called analytics. Our software, for example, in such case, where 60% of the students are weak, or where, because it works only on calculations, so where a course learning outcome is not achieved for more than 60%, say less than 60%, where a program learning outcomes has not been delivered means taught in a class for more than 50%, or where a graduate attributes is not achieved or achieved less than 60%, the software will highlight those statistics and that will be used for analytical purposes by the senior executives.
I would share something on a lighter note here. Dr.
Sure.
Biju, if you allow me.
Please.
When I had the first conversation with Dr. Biju 1 year back,
Okay.
so I invited Dr. Biju on our International Quality Assurance Conference.
I remember.
Yes.
And as soon as I sent invitation to Dr. Biju in return sent me a questionnaire and he asked me
I
about the
remember.
graduate attributes.
Yes.
And I was surprised this gentleman is taking my exam and he is asking me about the quality assurance expertise and the general attributes
I
of the
remember.
graduates. And I was very surprised. And later when I came to know that Dr. Biju is a scientist and he has recently invented a software, and although he has established and he has created his software, but still he is in the process of getting feedback and survey from the market at national international level, so that because the success of the software lies in the continuous feedback and responses from the market, so that he can improvise that software on a regular basis, and that can contribute to the main objective that for which Dr. Biju has created the software. So, Dr. Biju, on a lighter note, I was really astonished by the questions that you raised without telling me that you are inventor of a software, and it was very hard questionnaire, by the way, and it was very difficult for me to answer, but you would tell me that how successfully I passed that test, but it was a really nice feedback questions that you sent me for the survey.
And Dr. Biju, let me tell you one more thing. When you ask those questions, Fawad shared it with me, and he even seriously discussed those questions with me. And before sending the answer to you, he shared it with me. And again, he was really surprised. How come a person is so involved in, such attributes and asking people's views over that? So we highly appreciate
Thank you.
the very beginning of our connection.
Ladies and gentlemen, actually,
highly appreciate
the key to success of this software is that it has thorough evaluation and collection of responses from quality experts, academicians, faculty members, deans, head of the departments, senior lecturers. So this software is the result of a very thorough and in-depth study of the market, of the graduates, of the students, of the faculty members, of the industrialists at national international level. This software was not possible if Dr. Biju and his team had not conducted this thorough survey. The tip is that you need to have a thorough review and survey of the market if you want to produce something good.
Absolutely. Because I would like to add, Mr. Bhatt and Ms. Sajira. Excellent. Well said. The first point is you are experts. You are experts in this field. I am just in the academic side, but when we look at these factors, graduate attributes and learning outcomes and stuff like this, I think you are more experts than academicians because your main area is that area. As you rightly said, I was in discussion with many senior academicians, many senior quality experts like you, and many non-academic experts too, in addition to many faculty members. And what surprised me is we are in the 21st century and the world has moved from one place to another place. Inventions are just in a queue. And why there is no such software, at least in my view, and even in my contacts, I did not find any software that measures these attributes and outcomes. So really, as you rightly said, if a person thinks himself or herself that is not enough, he or she should ensure that it is much required and unique and it's innovative in the entire globe. So that is very important. Exactly, I agree with you. Thank you.
Dr. Biju, how do you manage your time? Because on one side, you are teaching and you are a faculty member at Dhofar University, Oman.
Yeah.
On the other side, you are a businessman. You are having a software house that is DirectorEDataInferno Private Limited. So on the other side, you are developing this software and you are in the final stages of implementing this software.
Yeah.
So how do you manage these two critical positions in addition to balancing your life? So how do you manage this work-life balance?
It's not easy, Mr. But it's really not easy because when we work in a place, it's a full-time job and we have to put up 100% for that job. So after putting 100% in one job and then putting another 100% somewhere else, you can just imagine it is like day and night struggle. So after I complete all my assignments at my regular workplace, I ensure that everything is up to date. There is nothing pending. Then I think over the second topic of the software. But the good thing is what I practice in my institution on a daily job or daily basis, that is what is this software about. It's all about how to improve the quality of education. So it directly or indirectly, it is what I am facing every day. How to measure the quality of education. So that helps me to put up minimum efforts every day apart from my working hours into this software concept. And this is what I manage. And truly speaking, it is double time, double effort. Of course, without hard work and smart work, we can't achieve anything in this globe.
And Sajda, whenever I try to communicate with Dr. Biju, he's available. Whether it's midnight, whether it's day,
So kind
I
of
send the message and
Thank you.
At the same time, I get a reply. So
Thank you. Highly
he's
appreciate it.
also available there. So,
Okay.
you
I
have
have a question.
Yeah.
Dr. Biju, as we are clear with the objectives of the product that you have mentioned, could you please tell us what are the expected economic impacts of this product globally?
Expected, can you please repeat the question, Ms. Sajida?
Expected economic impacts. How it is going to impact the economy?
Okay. Perfect. Well said. Point number one, I will say, if this software is implemented in any institution, that institution and the entire country, a nation, will be able to find out how much quality of education is running around in the nation or in the institution. So what will happen? This will enable a nation or the institution to produce qualified, well knowledgeable candidates out of the institution nation. That means an institution or a nation can develop upon strategies to further improve the quality of education. Because our software, as I rightly said, it will show you how much graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, and course learning outcomes has been delivered and attained or achieved. This means that on a daily basis, on a term-wise basis, we will know how much quality of education has been achieved. Are there any problems with the academic programs? Are there any problems with the courses? Are there any problems with the institutional infrastructure? So we will come to know about that with the attainment of the quality of education, which means that after few years, the institution or the nation will have a better capable human workforce, because they can evaluate continuously on the quality of education. That is point number one, a skilled human force. So that way, a nation need not appoint any other workforce from outside the nation, need not invite any other people, any other professionals to get it into the country. So that is number one. Number two, these days we know that in order to improve the quality of education, we try to reach the consultants and external consultants, in fact. So that means you are going to pay lot of money in millions and billions, possibly over a course of time, to external people who are from outside. So that also can be avoided. So you have a better human workforce, and the nation could develop effectively. Second, you can stop paying money outside your nation for other people who are from outside your country. So you can be self-dependent.
Okay. Dr. Biju, speaking broadly, what is the objective of getting higher education at university level? Now, the objective is to impart knowledge, to make the graduates competent,
Exactly.
and to inculcate and to build skills in them. That means knowledge, competency, skills. These are the broader categories around which the attributes travel. So, how do you classify the attributes of a graduate in these three broad categories? So, I mean to say, when we calculate strengths or weaknesses, there should be some areas in your software around which strengths or weaknesses will be derived.
Yeah.
So some would be falling into knowledge category, some would be falling into competency category, and some would be falling into skills, including psychometric skills. So what are the attributes that this software revolve around?
Very good. Very good. Excellent question. So let me just reiterate that this software will not only measure the graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, and course learning outcomes. These are not the only three criteria or three factors. In addition to these three, there is something called qualification framework. Qualification framework varies from one country to another country. Every country has got a framework of qualification. So those components goes into the software. That is number one. Apart from graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, and course learning outcomes. So fourth is qualification frameworks. And fifth is something called vocational and technical competencies. Again, every professor, for every course learning outcomes, a professor has to feed in input what are the technical and vocational competencies associated with each learning outcome. And the system will then measure. Finally, at the end of the graduation, the system will produce a candidate or a graduate, apart from how much graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, and course learning outcomes. Apart from these three, it will also show how much knowledge and competencies each graduate has got. It will also show what are the different types of competencies a graduate holds. For example, a graduate could be good in management, but not in marketing. So, vice versa, a graduate could be extremely good in marketing and sales, but not in management. So our system will show each and every competencies required by the institution or by the job market or by the industry. It will highlight and show it. So again, all this has to be fed in, and the software takes care of all these factors.
Another question that arises from this question is that, see, the attributes would be changing with the passage of time.
Yes.
For example, the industry perspective of looking at a graduate before pandemic was different.
Yeah.
And after pandemic,
Yeah.
the industry requirement from a graduate has been changed.
Yeah.
So that means, and because your software has been developed during this post-pandemic and pre-pandemic time, so I'm sure your software must be having the attributes that are required from a graduate pre-pandemic and post-pandemic.
Perfect. Perfect. Well said.
Right.
Okay.
So this means my question is that how would you be calculating and evaluating the industry impact or requirement? Because you would be needing survey from the industry on regular basis so that your software can update or improve the attributes or add the attributes required by the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shall I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Actually, point number one is, who is going to use our software, learning outcomes place?
Your targeted clients.
Exactly. Who is our targeted clients? University, college, institution, or any other educational institution.
Right.
This software is given to an institution, and the institution is supposed to feed in the data. Okay. Because, for example, let's say University, Ilma University, and let's say XYZ University. So when I give the software to Ilma University will key in their graduate attributes into the system.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And similarly, Ilma University will feed in, input the graduate attributes, the program learning outcomes, course learning outcomes, and qualification frameworks based on the institutional requirement and based on the industry requirement. And Ilma University will feed in the data required for vocational and technical competencies. So it is Ilma University who feeds in the data into the software. And based on this fed data, the software will produce the statistics. Let's take another institution. Another institution will have different set of graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, and all other factors. So when we give the software to that institution, they will feed in their data, and the system will produce the statistics for that institution based on the fed data. Now, as per your question, the graduate attributes, not only graduate attributes, the graduate attributes, the program learning outcomes, the course learning outcomes, and all other factors will change over time. It is not the same graduate attribute used 10 years back and going to be used now. So in this case, my answer is that the institution has to consult the stakeholders. For example, if it is Ilma University need to consult the stakeholders. That includes students, prospective employers, factories, alumni students, and everyone else. Consult and prepare a set of new graduate attributes that aligns with the vision of Ilma University.
Okay.
So this is how it goes. So the institution itself, that is the software's target clients, have to define these inputs. Our software, once installed, will take the inputs from the institution and produce the corresponding statistics. So our software does not make the attributes. It is from the institution that goes into the software as an input.
Okay.
in a form of data that the software.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, Dr. Biju, would I be correct if I say that at the moment, learning outcome blaze is measuring graduate attributes, but later on, with the passage of time, we would also be expecting you to develop other modules in the software as well. For example, uh, graduate attributes are also directly related to, for example, students' course evaluation by a current student.
Yeah.
So, or faculty evaluation by student.
Yeah.
So these are also directly or indirectly related to the end result. So,
Oh, yes.
are you planning to develop other modules as well after
Yes.
successful implementation of this module?
Perfect. Well said. Mr. But let me put up very clearly. Right now, the scenario is that there is no measurable techniques to evaluate the delivery or attainment. Again, I repeat, delivery means what professor has taught, and attainment means what the students have received.
Right.
There is no such measurable technology right now available in the entire globe. That's what I know. Now, what's happening right now is it is a sort of feedback and survey and feedback from the students or stakeholders from faculty, as you rightly said, through evaluation. Through evaluation, it is found out, okay, how much graduate attributes have been achieved, delivered and achieved in a course, or how much learning outcomes, program learning outcomes, or course learning outcomes has been delivered or achieved or attained in a course. This is happening through surveys and feedbacks. And I say these surveys and feedbacks are very, very important. But then only these surveys and feedbacks will not give us the right results. So what our system does is, our system will work on measurable terms, that is grades. And in future, I am planning to add up modules of these surveys and feedbacks from stakeholders. And then we will fix up a percentage. For example, 80% of the measurable terms, that means from grades, and 20% of feedbacks and surveys. So we will put up a calculation, comprehensive calculation, and the system will automatically include everything and produce the statistics. So yes, we have to develop additional modules.
Yes.
There is a plan for that.
Right.
Okay, Dr. Biju, let's say if I am a student in a university and I am being, assessed through this software, as my university has got, all the powers and access to this software. So once when I am evaluated in my first semester, normally we are given the transcripts. But what if when we are being assessed from the software, are we supposed to get any sort of the report or certificate as a student can, measure or look at their report card and as we when looking at transcripts. So do we have any sort of paper or certificate that we are received? Because we can, measure and make our maps that what are the areas that I need to improve personally. And obviously our teacher will guide us to, but what if I want to do it myself? So would I be, given any sort of paper or the report through this software?
Yes, of course. Now, this is a very rational question. Ms. Sajida, all of us know very well, right now, for example, a bachelor's degree program has got 4 years or 8 semesters.
Yeah.
After completion of 1 semester or after completion of 5 courses, for example, a student does not know what are his or her strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
No student knows this basically. What they know is that after a completion of the semester, they got grades, marks in those courses, and that's all. End of the story. They move to the next semester. Your question is very rational. Our system, on the other hand, at the end of the semester, because there are different access, different user privileges. The system can be accessed by the faculty members. The system can be accessed by management, like head of the department, deans, vice chancellors of the institution. The system can be accessed by the students themselves. For example, a student can type his or her credentials, username and password, and the system produces all the records, all the archives, how much graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, course learning outcomes, or competencies or qualification frameworks the student equips at the end of a semester. In addition to this, the employers, for example, an employer needs 1 or 2 students or 10 students from a university. There is an access for the employer. The employer can continuously monitor the students' progress. The employer can always log in and see which students or what are the students who are good in what areas. So the employer, before the students graduate, the employer knows, okay, this is my target student, or let me watch this student and find out at the end of the graduation, does this or that student satisfy my requirements or not. So there is an option for the student and for the employer also in the software to find out the best caliber.
So that means there is no like semester bound thing, like we are not going to, evaluate ourselves, or our faculties are not going to evaluate us at the end of our programs, but at the initial stages or in between of the programs, right?
Yeah, no, what I mean to say, at the end of the semester, a student can get his own strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly.
The students will know. Yeah.
That is the best practice.
Exactly.
I see a problem. And the problem is that measurement of learning outcome is different at institutional level. For example, my student who is studying at Ilma University, the quantifiable measurement of learning outcome would be different from another university, that is, for example, XYZ University.
Yes.
Why? Because the assessment criteria of every institution is different.
Yes.
For example, the final question paper of a semester at Ilma University, for example, is of 100 marks, and out of that 30% is at easy level, 30% is harder one, and the remaining 40% is middle level or middle tiered paper.
Yeah.
So the assessment of the one person would be, for example, 70 out of 100 marks he achieved at Ilma University based on 40 module of examination paper.
Yeah.
Now, if the same student goes into another university in Pakistan, so he is being assessed in a manner, for example, 20% is the easy part, 40% is the middle part, 60% is the harder part. So his result or assessment or marks in the same paper with different competency level would be different. So the learning outcome, for example, student A is having 70 marks at Ilma University, and in the same paper with different difficulty level, he achieved 90 marks. And if he goes into another third university, he gets 40 marks. So the learning outcomes of the same student at 3 universities with the same paper having different difficulty level would be different. So how would we handle this type of situation?
Right. Well, that's a very smart, intelligent question.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Bhatt, assume the software does not exist for the time being. It does not exist. It is still under development stage.
Right.
What's happening now? The same thing is happening now also. A person or a student, for example, let's take a course, let's say Introduction to Programming, a computer science course. Java, let's say Java programming. After completion of a Java programming course in Ilma University, the student gets 80%. Simultaneously, the same caliber student who is doing a same course or same type of course in another institution, he or she gets 95%. So does it mean, the question is, does it mean that that 95% student is better than this 80% student in the same course, same programming? First of all, I don't agree with that, because as you rightly said, the quality of education is measured at the institutional level. ILMA University's 80% is good enough or much better than 95% of another institution.
Yes.
Okay, that is happening right now. So this much, I mean, this is what is the world, how it moves. But it does not mean that ILMA University starts giving 100% marks to all its students, telling that all our students are 100%. So that does not work out. In spite, the quality of education is measured by the employed graduates. Once a graduate is employed, after a year or so, the industry will know, oh, okay, a graduate from ILMA University has got this caliber and a graduate from other university has got this caliber. So what I mean to say is, we can never compare two students from two different institutions based on the grades, because the grades fluctuates. But our software, what we propose is like this. We have something called moderation. Moderation means when a faculty member prepares the exams. I'm just using a simple word, exam, instead of assessment.
Yeah.
When a faculty member is doing the final exam in his or her university, usually that exam paper, question paper and the answer paper, both has to go external moderation. That means when a faculty member is going to give a final exam to his or her students, that question paper should be reviewed by another faculty member in another institution to see that the question paper sustains the minimum standards. Right. The question paper questions are up to the benchmark level. So this process is called moderation. Yes. So we recommend that every assessment of every institution should be moderated either internally or externally. So moderation is the only solution, whether with software or without software.
Right. And in Pakistan, what universities do, the papers are being moderated, but not externally, internally. What we do is that we create subject group leaders. For example, all the papers related to finance area would be moderated by a pool of finance experts at ILMA University. Okay. So similarly, all the marketing related papers will be reviewed by a pool of marketing experts. Okay. So the purpose of moderation here at ILMA University or other universities in Pakistan is to make sure that the assessment policy of ILMA University is being complied of, and the difficulty level is being ensured in the paper. For example, if a teacher writes a question, define this. So this is not a question because you are studying at a university. So you are not supposed to define this and define that. Yeah. Rather, you are. It would be more appropriate if a student is giving us practical scenario in which he or she is given a scenario, and at the end, he or she being asked to take a decision, provided these 2 or 3 or 4 resources are there. Yeah. So this is, and you're right that assessment criteria of every institution is different.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, Mr. But I would like to add this.
Yes.
All the assessment preparation and assessments grading is followed by that institutional policy.
Yes.
ILMA University has got its policy. So what I say is, Ilma University is a university which is striving for quality of education, and XYZ University is the competitor of Ilma University, and they are putting their efforts to improve their education. So I will never compare a student from Ilma University, 80% to 90% of other university. I will never compare, because the grades, even there is something called fluctuations or recurving of grades. So only grades will not prove anything, or it will not prove the quality of education unless until the graduate is employed and the industry says, okay, 80% of Ilma University graduate is better than 95% of another institution's graduate. This is one method of evaluating the quality of education. Secondly, as I said, our system, Mr. Bhatt, here again, our thinking goes again based on the comparison of or the grades itself. Here, what we want to know is, for example, let's say we have got two students graduating from Ilma University. Let's put a simple example. Let's say student Ali and student Khalid, they graduated from Ilma University, same academic program. And Ali has got 90% overall CGPA, and Khalid has got, let's say, 60%. Now, what's happening right now is, for an employer to choose from one of these students, they will straight away go to the student who has got 90%. But this is again something tremendously wrong, because it is not that 90% or 60%. Based on the strengths and weaknesses of the students, possibly that student with 60% will have more strengths for that particular job.
True.
This is what our system will raise. So it is not 90 and 60, finally, the CGPA or GPA. It is actually the strengths and weaknesses better fit for a job. That is what our system will do.
Dr. Biju, as I've been also teaching, like it's been years that I've been teaching. So I see normally those students who are not good at explaining, who are not good at, when the exams have been taken, but they are good at the practical things of that, as I am from also computer science field.
Yeah.
So normally when I ask the students the direct interactive session in the class, they do not respond. But when I ask them to write a code for that this particular scenario or the problem, they just write it right away, and those programs are really clear. And those students are in a good software houses. They're working internationally, and they had like 2.1 or 2.5 GPAs. Rather, comparing to this, those students who are having highest GPAs, they're also looking for the jobs. They're also looking. They're doing the jobs that are not comes under their expertise. So this is how we need to change this as well. Because the students who are not good at the papers, but they are good at the practical things.
Yeah, exactly. Ms. Sajida, if you can notice here, as I said before, if you see the graduate attributes, program learning outcomes, course learning outcomes, the course learning outcomes will show the knowledge a student has got, whether it is doing practically or whatsoever. So that student will have that knowledge. Now, as you rightly said, that student is unable to speak, or the communication skills of the student is too weak, right? And vice versa. Another student is good in communication, but weak in programming. For example, we have two students, one good in programming, but weak in communication, another one good in communication and weak in programming, vice versa. This is found out by our system. The system will show the strengths, telling that this student is good in programming, in Java programming, for example, but weak in communication. The system will show that. And the system will show for the other student that he or she is weak or good in programming, and vice versa. So it is up to the employer. What type of student is he requiring? Does he want a person with good knowledge in programming, or does he need a person with average knowledge in programming with good communication skills?
As normally the computer scientists or the people who have the background of these computers and programming, normally they are being called introverts because they've been sitting in the corner and working for that long. And most of the organizations just refuse, a bit of the people who are not good at speaking, who just sit somewhere and do their jobs.
I agree. There are both sides, Ms. Sajida. Organizations need some people who are good in communication, but may not be good technically. But other organizations, so it depends upon the industry. Again, not everybody is perfect.
But Dr. Biju, now universities have started more focus towards establishing clubs and societies of the students, so that not only they can improve their academic skills, but they can also improve their communication skills, leadership qualities, time management, stress management, administrative engagement. So now the purpose of these clubs and societies are to make them more expert towards other attributes as well. And another thing that comes into my mind is that, in fact, we are working on measuring graduate attributes at tertiary level education at the university level. And what I think is that similar pattern should be used at primary and secondary levels as well. Because, for example, if I have studied, I have taken primary and secondary education from a reputable and renowned top class school and college. So my style of getting education and my attribute would be far more better than that student who was underprivileged and who couldn't afford studying in good school or college. So his confidence would be inferior, my confidence would be superior. So my attribute at the end of the course or the program, I would be taking higher numbers than that student who is intelligent and who had the similar environment at the university, but because of having weak primary and secondary background, so I couldn't contribute or I couldn't get major marks.
Exactly. You are absolutely right, sir. Basically, the quality of education cannot be attained in a single stretch, single shot. It should start basically at the primary level itself. Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah.
And what I think the horizon and the scope of this software is manifold. Now, after completing this, you can start working on the secondary level education. You can engage your team and you can start working on the primary level education. Then you can develop other modules. So this is, I think, a C. And a lot of things are there, what I see in the future that you can do with this infrastructure.
Exactly. As you know, Mr. Bhatt, as you rightly said, outcome-based educational system, OBE. Now, outcome-based educational system, I think you know better than me as an academic, that runs in higher educational institutions, that is universities, colleges, and there are many secondary and middle level schools also who run on outcome-based educational system. So our software will definitely work out perfectly in the university as well as at the school level, provided some sort of customization is done to the software. Yeah.
That means the target client of yours is not only university, but it also includes schools and colleges.
Definitely.
Right.
Just because at the current stage, our system works mainly on the grades, and grades are very sensitive, basically the marks itself. So we are focusing the higher educational institutions, but we can take this software to the schooling system and it will work perfectly, provided we incorporate some sort of views and feedbacks from the teachers and other stakeholders. So it will perfectly run better in the schools also.
Because you have already made the infrastructure, everything is there.
Exactly.
Now you just need to take the feedback and you just need to input that feedback and you can get results.
Yeah.
Dr. Biju, before moving to a rapid fire round, I have one last question, the technical question related to your field.
Yeah.
It is mentioned that you created and developed this unique methodology, right? And
Yeah.
then after that, you got registered this as a patent
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you named it. So, what is the reason that you, after registering it, then you came up to the development of a software? Like prior to the software thing, what was the evaluation? How this evaluation came into being?
Okay, so maybe your question is, what was the reason of developing the patent before software development? Is this
Exactly.
your question?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, Mr. Bhatt and Ms. Sajida, I am a full-time professional in one institution now, and it is not possible to have my own company or professionals to develop the software. It's not possible for me to operate that way. So the only option was to outsource the development of the software to another company.
Yes.
Now, to do this, it was not easy to hand over all the secrets of the, the methodology, the formulas and stuff
Yes.
to anybody else without reserving or registering as a patent. So that was the main concept behind
Right.
developing or registering the patent so that it's secured. And then after registering the patent, it was so easy for me because then it has got its, key with me, and then I handed over to the other company, outsourced for development of the software. So it's from the safety and security perspective. Yeah.
So
Of the
who is the
methodology.
patenting body, Dr. Biju, from which the patent has been derived?
India, from India, but soon I will be registering internationally, possibly in US. So
All
that
right.
will cover, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It will cover the whole world then. So how
It will then cover the whole world, yeah.
So how much time did you take to get it patented?
Possibly around 1.5 to 2 years, because
And-
first it undergoes something called provisional patent registration,
Okay.
and then it goes for permanent, which is for 20 years. So it goes approximately a period of around 1.5 to 2 years. Yeah.
And when did you start working on the software?
Around one year back, 1 to 1.5 years back.
But your speed is terrific because in a year or so, and you have created this software taking into account so much variables. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's very difficult.
It is a very complicated stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
no doubt.
Dr. Biju, this would be unfair if I would not take one person's name that you are going to talk about, Mr. Nehal Biju.
Oh,
Tell
yes,
us
yes,
about him.
yes.
Tell us about him.
Well, Nihal, can I start speaking about Nihal?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Nehal and his relation to this eDataInferno.
Okay. So Nihal Biju is basically my elder son, and he is the partner of eDataInferno Research and Innovations. He is the director of the company, and he has got a certain stake in the company. Well, he is a very high caliber individual who has finished his bachelor's in electronics and communication engineering from India, from one of the best institutes in India, I will say. And of course, he got admission to that institution after working hard for approximately 14 to 15 hours per day multiplied by 3 years is his result to get admission into that institution. After getting, that means he had to write some entrance examination and stuff like this, where very few hundreds goes into the institution from millions. So that is the way how he worked hard, worked smart, and got into the bachelor's degree education in India. And he completed his bachelor's of electronics and communication engineering from one of the top institutes called NIT in India. And recently he got admission to University of Texas at Dallas.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. And he was here for all these days with me in Oman. And he is traveling to US, to University of Texas at Dallas in the first week of August. And he is going to do his master's degree there. And I will say that in short, he is a better candidate than me to talk to you in this regard. Unfortunately, he is right now not available.
We'll have another session with him as well.
Sure.
Good wishes to him.
Good wishes.
Sure, I will.
Okay. Dr. Biju, if you allow, should we move towards our rapid fire round?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Excuse me. Okay. What is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Of course, I pray. I wake up in the morning, I pray, and even before I open my eyes, I pray for my parents, for my family, for all my friends, for everyone in this world. That is my first task I do.
Amazing thing that you are doing in the morning.
After prayers, how do you charge yourself?
After prayers, of course, I will have a hot cup of tea and water, and then I will continue with my regular proceedings.
Right.
Dr. Biju, what book you are reading these days?
Well, if you ask me about a book, I will say zero book, other than the textbooks which I teach in my courses, and that vary from course to course. Just because of the reason that you have everything here. Those were days 20 years back when you need to read a book to get some information. These days you have everything in the mobile, in the Google, in the internet. So if you ask me a book, I will say zero. But if you ask me, what do you read? I will say journal articles, research articles, publications, conference papers, and lot of materials available in the internet.
But I am sure you would be writing your biography one day.
I hope so.
Okay. Dr. Biju, in which subject were you worst at school?
Oh, wow.
I will say mathematics. And truly speaking, it was mathematics. And today, mathematics is that brought me to develop this software.
Exactly. It is like directly proportional to the computer.
Exactly. Now the story goes like this.
It means
When
you are one of the individuals who has made your weakness as your strength.
Strengths, exactly. And Mr. Bhatt, what happened is, most of us, maybe we feel shy to speak out, but I am very, very frank, very open. I remember the days when I memorized the formulas of mathematics, when I memorized the equations of mathematics, just to write the exams and get the best score. And I did also. I got it also. But later on, when I went to the higher level of my education, I found that I know nothing. Because in the previous year, I memorized and did everything just to get the grades in the exams. That shock made me immediately to recover the previous years also by additional coaching and tuition. And that was the year where I recovered everything of the past and I made myself strong in that area. And this is what the story is about.
A good day.
But Dr. Biju, another problem that I see is that when I used to study mathematics and the theorems I used to memorize, and I always thought that this is a curse that being a student I am having by learning these theorems, because at those days we didn't know what would be the practical implications of those theorems.
Correct.
But now when we entered into practical life, and now then we realized in practical life that, okay, that theorem can be used today in this scenario to evaluate or get the result of something. So this is another reason, because if you do not know about the practical implications, something that thing feels like a boredom.
Yeah. And one more factor I will, in my view, I will say one more factor. The pedagogy of the teaching faculty.
Yes.
It totally depends upon your teacher who taught you and how he or she taught you. So that pedagogy, because it's up to the teaching faculty who knows how to push the knowledge into the student's brain. So I very much believe in that aspect. That also is a criteria.
Because, for example, when we were studying chemistry, memorizing that organic table was quite difficult. So
Yeah.
our teachers
Very hard
taught
for
us
me.
about the mnemonics.
Yeah.
That how
Yeah.
can you memorize something very long through the use of mnemonics. So this is the pedagogy style.
Exactly.
To know how to teach such hard things,
Exactly.
things become easy.
Exactly. Well said.
Right.
So it starts from the foundation of a
Yes.
subject and then it goes up the higher level. So
True.
again, back to the point, the primary education is the most vital education for
True.
your entire career.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I hated maths too.
Yeah, exactly. But then you will like it if you have got the right concepts at the right time.
Yes,
Yeah.
true. True.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Biju, the most influential person in your life.
Well, I will say my parents. I believe my parents have been the most influential people in my life. I will say both my father and my mother. The way they have brought us up, the way they have, that they have worked hard, the way they have struggled to bring us up, that is
True.
the most influential moment. And they are the personality for me for the entire life.
Right. Right.
Amazing.
And who is the most influential person these days?
Well, I will say my wife because I need to have my food,
He was
and she's
actually
the
waiting
next
for
one.
this answer.
You should thank me that I saved you. Because after the program, you
Yes.
have to return to your wife.
No, Mr. But I am very true. Without your parents, without your family, that includes
True.
your wife, and without your children,
True.
without
Exactly.
your entire family, and without your friends, we can never succeed in our life.
True.
That is sure for all.
And
Sure.
also the professional colleagues that you that revolve around you are also very important.
Of
Because they
course.
teach you, they help you, they support you, they motivate you.
Simply
Exactly.
or another family.
Because
that
when
we
you are
spend a lot of time with
because
them.
when you are in office, parents are not there, wife is not
Exactly.
there, but the colleagues are there.
Exactly. Our
Right.
professional colleagues at our workplace are our biggest strength. And
Yes.
in my case, my software is the end result of my professional colleagues.
True.
They are the people who have motivated me, who gave the ideas, who supported me, who did everything for me. Until now, they are the only people because they are in the field. They know the value of the software.
Because
If I
you are
take this
working
software to exactly. So colleagues are the most important key factors. Yes.
because you are working 17 to 18 hours in a day with the colleagues. So of your life, 70 to 80% time is spent with the colleagues. So
Exactly.
their role is also very important.
It's a key factor, no doubt.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Moving forward, Dr. Biju, if you got a do-over in your life, what would that be?
I will say I would have tried to develop this software 10 years back.
Okay.
That would be my biggest do-over, possibly.
Okay.
But then when I look at the success stories of various people across the globe, really the duration or the time period really does not matter. Anyone can start at any part of the life.
Exactly.
And
If you
Dr.
can,
Biju, generally what I have seen that most of the inventors, successful people achieve after 40s.
yeah, because the experience counts.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
They got
Exactly.
the lifetime experience. Okay.
Exactly.
What
This is
is
nothing
the-
to be purchased. This has
Yes.
to be brought it from your own mind, own
Yes.
experience. Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Biju, your favorite thing to do in the summertime?
Spend time with the family and kids and my friends.
What about mangoes?
Of course, yes. some mangoes, and some jackfruits.
Okay. Your hidden talent that no one knows.
I
No,
think
no
I
one.
was quite good enough in playing cricket, and even in our culture, in our tradition, possibly 20 years back, playing cricket was just considered as a simple game, but not as building up a career. But these days, it has become a hobby and a career as well. So maybe that was one of my hidden talents. I was too good in that, and finally, I did not do that part. That's what I will say.
By the way, I was expecting that you would say you are a good singer or you are a good poet.
Absolutely not. I am the worst singer in the whole world.
Okay, Dr. Biju, I skipped one question. Like, what has been your favorite age so far?
Favorite?
Part of your age. The part of your age, your favorite age.
Ah,
number.
okay. To be very true, Miss Sajida and Mr. Butt, I enjoy every day of my life.
Good.
I never thought that 20s or 30s or 50s. No, never. I still consider every day is a great day. And I never, that didn't come to my mind. Yes, as I said before, maybe as I said 10 years back, if I would have developed that software, I would have been more what we call more thrilled and possibly, as you grow old, you have got limitations. So that is the only thing. Otherwise, every day is a great day.
And this is the key that keeps you young every day. If you
Exactly.
take it in this way.
Every age has got its own charm.
Exactly.
Dr. Biju, would you ever appear on a reality show if you got the chance?
I don't think so. Because I don't like debates, and I always want to be very kind to everybody, and I want everyone to be kind to me, and that does not happen in a reality show. So I will say no.
No. Okay. Okay. Dr. Biju, are you in a profession that you dreamed of, like when you were a child?
Really no.
Oh.
I remember when I was in grade 5 or 8. Exactly, I don't remember. Our school asked us to write our ambition in a piece of paper.
Yes.
And I remember I wrote a article of 1 page, whatever, and it was all about becoming a police officer.
Okay.
And that was my ambition since that class 5 or 8, till I found that no, I am never going to that job because of whatsoever reasons. And one more thing, in contrary, I never thought that I will be a academician, or I never thought that I will go through these type of profession in the future, like again carrying the books and knowledge and materials and libraries and scholarly articles. No, I don't think that was my interest, and everything happened the other way around.
So what made you tilted towards this computer science and faculty and academic profession?
Well, after the education, after completing our education, the first job that I got was something called an instructor.
Okay.
Instructor of a professional institute. And after taking my classes in an institute, I found that yes, this is something great. The amount of respect you get from the students,
Yes.
the knowledge you share with the people, and the respect you get from everyone else. And that motivated me. Okay, great. So from instructor to professor. And that is what diverted me.
Because in that field, you keep on learning the things along with the teaching.
Exactly. You keep updated yourself every time. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Biju, would you rather travel to the past or the future if you got the time machine?
I will neither go to past nor the future, because if I do that, I will not do that. I will not even think, because then I will not have what happiness I have currently with me. For example, my kids, my family, my colleagues, this event that is going on, my professional colleagues, my Dhofar University, my company. If I go to past, maybe this will not be with me. If I go to the future, maybe I will miss all these things. I just want to enjoy my current moment.
Really appreciate
Fawad,
that.
I think we are getting the best answers throughout, these seasons.
Thank
Very
you.
genuine, very neutral
And
answers we are receiving.
exactly. And I'm not framing any answer. It is straight from the heart. Straight from
And
the
I'm
heart.
sure that
We can feel that.
you had not appeared into any show like Qtrix ever before,
Yeah. Never. Never.
because the questions are really different.
Well, again, there is no harm, and reality is reality, and we should be very open, and we should always be speaking the truth, and that is
Yes, we
always
are here. Yes,
exactly.
this is why we are here. Okay, the most likely 3 words that would describe Dr. Biju.
Hardworking,
Hmm.
very optimistic,
Double check.
and very sincere to my work.
Double check to that too.
That's great.
Clearly
So that is
defined.
my
Okay. What is the object you mostly misplace or lose the most?
object.
What is the object? What is that thing that you normally misplace it
Forget.
somewhere, like your car
You
keys, your
keep
phone?
there and you forget.
No, can you please repeat the question once again? What
Okay.
is
What is that object or a thing that you misplace normally? That normally people have,
Ah,
trick to
okay.
misplace the keys and forget about it.
I see. Basically, Ms. Sajida and Mr. Butt, usually 99% I don't do any such misplacings. But I remember one incident, one point of time, when I was under lot of stress.
Oh.
That happened only for a moment, and even I don't remember what was that stress about.
Hmm.
And possibly I was in a hurry and some sort of confusion and some stress. Just one moment happened with me in my life, and where I was searching for my car keys, and it was in my hands. I spent half an hour searching the keys.
And Dr.
And
Biju, this happens with us. We start looking for the mobile phone and we forget that it is already in our hands. So this
All
happens with us as well.
So I think it's a human nature. When a human undergoes a stress or pressure or some sort of whatsoever confusion, this could happen with anybody. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So since that happened with me once, and I don't remember any other incident, because always I do things twice. For example, if I leave my home, I lock the door, I press the handle twice. I go to sleep, I lock the door, I press the lock twice.
Yeah.
I keep the alarm for my mobile, I check it thrice. So usually I assure myself that I am doing the right things at the right time.
I also do it and my mother scolds me for that.
Very good.
Okay. Dr. Biju, I think this would be the last question if I say. What is your deepest fear?
My
Who
deepest
are you afraid
fear.
of? I would say like this.
Who are you or what are you afraid of?
Well, I am afraid of not hearing any bad news the next moment or the next day. We know that we have got our friends, colleagues, families, and I am afraid of hearing anything the next day which is not good to hear. That's the only thing I am afraid of. Rest, everything is acceptable.
So, Dr. Biju, what message would you like to give to ILMA University faculty and students?
I will say only one word: smart work. Doing hard work used to be the best option, but in this competitive world, whatever or anyone in this whole world, and mainly the ILMA University faculty and the student, I will say use all your knowledge, skills and capabilities to do the smart work. The difference between hard work and smart work is, in my definition, in my view, hard work means you try to achieve a specific task precisely within a duration of many hours, possibly. Smart work will be to achieve the same task within a very short time, but precisely without any errors or mistake. Try to build up these capabilities, and this is my advice to everyone. And this is what I will recommend ILMA University faculty and students. Smart work.
Thank you. And what is your feedback about Qtrix? How can we improve this show?
Excellent, excellent. This show itself is a great show. I will request you to sustain this show, because in this fast-paced world, Mr. Bhatt, Ms. Sajda and ILMA University, you know, it is not easy even to spare 1 minute with anybody else. And you are taking so much of effort, spending so much of your time, and that also, it's not a minute, you are talking about hours and days. And I will welcome this initiative, and I am sure that this event is going to be one of the best events for the entire globe, and it's a great event. Keep up the good work.
So kind of you, Dr.
Because the
Biju.
most difficult part of this show is that you every time in every episode we have to get into the shoes of the guest, and we have to speak with them as per their level, as per their intelligent quotient. Because, for example, you are a scientist and you have developed a software. So we need to communicate and interact with you with the knowledge of that thing. So similarly, if the guest so this is the most difficult part of this show.
We need to get prepared about this, the topic that comes in.
Exactly. For this 2-hour show, you will have to prepare for 20 hours in advance.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's very, very clear. So lot of hard work, lot of effort, and the attitude to do that. That is the biggest thing. And in my knowledge, you are doing a great job. And keep up the good work, Mr. Bhatt and Ms. Sajida. I wish all the best for ILMA University. And same thing I was telling, that you are a great asset to your institution. What is good thing with you is you are very hardworking. You are very sincere, and you deserve all the applause, whatever possible.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It was lovely and kind to have you, Dr. Biju.
Thank you very much.
Conversation with you.
On behalf of ILMA University's Board of Governors, our Chancellor, Mr. Numan Lakhani, Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Masood Zafar, registrars, deans, the whole faculty members and the staff, we are highly obliged and thankful to you for sparing time for this Qtrix and always supporting ILMA University in the different endeavors, because you are also advisor of our quality assurance conference, and you are also on other forums as well. So thank you for being with us, and you are a great supporter, a great mentor, and we wish you good luck, and we hope to see you one day in Pakistan. We want to welcome you here in Pakistan, so hopefully you will be here someday.
Yeah, sure. Kindly convey my regards to everyone, to the Vice Chancellor, to all the administration, faculty members, and the students of ILMA University. And you are doing a great professional work. I'm sure ILMA University, under your contribution, is going to be one of the best universities in the region, without any doubts. These are great professional and academic endeavors. So I wish you all the best. My regards to everyone. Back to the
Recently, Times Higher Education has announced Impact Ranking 2022, and as per that ranking, Ilma University has been placed number 3 in Pakistan in the private sector institutions, and first university in the province of Sindh. So this is all
congratulations, sir.
Thank you, and this is all because of the hard work of the faculty, the staff, the contribution of students, alumni, and our advisors at national international level. So it was not possible without.
Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Definitely, it's a great achievement, and congratulations to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with this, ladies and gentlemen, we come up with the end of this show. Until next time, we'll be with another exciting guest in an episode. Until then, take care. Good luck. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Dr. Biju.
Thank you. See you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
See you.